Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for the incoming sixth grade parent orientations. Thank you to everybody in the room, a very punctual group. I appreciate that. And we have some people joining us online as well. All of this is going to be recorded, and then the presentation that you all see up here we'll share with you as well, because there'll be some things in there you'll probably want to go back and revisit. I'm just going to share that same presentation with everybody here at home as well, so that we're all looking at the same thing. Okay. This is Barnes River. So what we're going to do tonight, obviously, welcome you all. We'll do some introductions. You'll get to meet some members of the sixth grade team, some people that are going to really help you and your child transition into middle school very smoothly. We'll talk about what you can expect over that first year, and then also throughout middle school, what day-to-day life is like at PRM, and then we'll do some Q&A at the end, because I'm sure you'll have some questions. But just so you know, we are all here to answer those questions. I'm sure as you think about everything that we talk about today, there will be some things that occur to you to ask later, and we are here for all of that. So I am Mark Mongan. I'm the principal of Pearl R. Miller Middle School. We do have an assistant principal. Mike Buser has been our principal. He's moving on to take a principalship in another district. We will miss him greatly, but we are already in the process of finding a new assistant principal. We have our counselors, and Mrs. McLean will speak a little bit about what our counselors do tonight, and then our sixth grade team of teachers. You're dealing with a very experienced group that understand middle school kids as thoroughly as it is possible. So we recognize that there are things that they're excited about. We recognize that there are things that they're concerned about, maybe a little bit anxious about, and you could not find a better group of people to welcome them in, to really care for them, and to help them make this really big step in their school career as easily as possible. So with all that said, what we're going to do is I'll call up our teachers one by one so that they can introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about their areas. And we'll start with our sixth grade team facilitator. We work in teams within the middle school. We have 3 grade level teams and then a team for our special area teachers. That's just one more way that we have a support network around each one of our students. So our sixth grade team facilitator is Mrs. Barnes Rizzo.
Okay. So good evening and welcome to middle school. My name's Jennifer Barnes Rizzo, and I have the privilege of being the sixth grade team facilitator. I'm finishing up my 23rd year of teaching and my 13th year here at PRM. The teachers who make up the sixth grade team are a wonderful group of people who truly understand the uncertainty that comes along with starting middle school. We understand what it's like for your children to begin in a new school and have a new schedule. We all have a shared philosophy of sixth grade. We work together as a team and meet together twice a week so we can plan events and also meet with guidance and CST and the administration to make sure your students' social, emotional, and academic needs are met. At the beginning of sixth grade, we nurture and help guide them as they figure out lockers, finding classrooms, learning teachers' names, the expectations we have and the expectations they have, and what to bring to class and how to stay organized. On the first day, we meet as a group together and welcome them, introducing them to their teachers and navigate to first period. After a few weeks or so, they start to become more acquainted with the routine and take on the responsibility themselves. They love the independence and the changing of classes. And by the end of the first marking period, they truly take on the role of their own with guidance when they need it. By the end of sixth grade, it's always nice to see the growth and how they have changed into responsible, independent individuals. The transformation still amazes each of the team members every year. Over the summer on the Pearl Miller website, we will post a welcome letter and a list of supplies that they will need for each of their classes. During the first and second week of school, we will help organize the children together in class. This will help alleviate any anxiety they have, and they will have what they need and how to organize it. Lastly, the start of the school year will be filled with many emotions, excitement, and as well as some anxiety. But remember, our team is made up of not only teachers, but parents as well. And we will conquer this September and next year together here at PRM. Thank you.
Next, Mrs. Eckert, Social Studies.
Good evening and welcome. My name is Melissa Eckert, and I have the privilege of teaching your children about history. I am finishing up my 26th year here at Pearl Miller School. So if you think about it, I have spent more than half my life as a sixth grader. On a personal note, I've experienced both of my own children going through middle school, so I truly understand how overwhelming it can be for the parent as well as the child. But we will all work together, like Mrs. Barnes-Rizzo said, and we will help your child make a smooth transition. The sixth grade curriculum is world history. We use an online student textbook, and students will use their Chromebooks daily to access it. It's a very hands-on program. Students will participate in many exploratory activities. We do a cave exploration during first marking period where they role play archaeologists and study artifacts that were left behind. When we get to ancient China, we bring in an earthquake simulator, and the students get to experience how awesome the inventions were during that time period. And these activities will really enhance their understanding of the main ideas. At the beginning of each unit, students make predictions prior to learning about what actually happened in the past. And one of our main goals in sixth grade history is to show them how everything that we know today somehow connects back to the past, and the history is all around us. We'll begin the school year with prehistoric times. We then go into farming villages, and then we'll go into our ancient civilizations. We'll study Mesopotamia, which is modern day Iraq. We will then move into Egypt, China, India. We'll study two of the world religions, which are Hinduism and Buddhism in sixth grade. And then in addition to the curriculum, current events and geography are embedded right into each unit. So it's with their children all year, those skills. We end the school year with ancient Greece and Rome, which is a really nice transition to seventh grade history because seventh grade history picks up where I leave off in sixth grade, which is ancient Rome. And as previously stated, one of the key focal points throughout the entire year is how the past is connected to modern day. By the end of the school year, students are able to make real world connections, and they've gained a better understanding of how the past is part of our everyday lives. I look forward to meeting each and every one of you, and enjoy your summer because September will be here before we know it.
Next, Mrs. Sanders, Language Arts.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Faith Vanderzee, and I have the pleasure of providing you with some information about sixth grade language arts. The class intertwines reading and writing skills, obviously, but also research skills, public speaking skills, grammar and vocabulary skills, as well as technology skills used to produce and share their work. Throughout the year, students will be exposed to an array of texts, both literary and informational, allowing them to engage with various styles and genres. And when reading, we practice specific strategies or ways of thinking and commenting on text. Really, these are critical thinking skills so that students can analyze what they read. We push them beyond responses like, for example, such and such a character is upset. For example, in the text it said, quote, "This proves he's upset," right? So the students will be practicing creating more interesting commentary. Overall, they're just encouraged to value their ideas and develop that through their written expression. When writing, we teach and model ways to approach and structure their work according to a variety of writing tasks. Not everything is an essay. They want to call everything an essay, but we'll write narratives, informational reports, poems, journal responses, constructed responses, which are really just one paragraph. They'll even have some opportunities, they're optional, to enter writing contests. And I'm proud to say 6 of my students had short stories published this year. So if your child says they have to write an essay, they'll only be accurate some of the time. Another thing students get to work on this year, as I said, will be their public speaking skills, which was always a favorite. This year, my students conducted a short research project on unsung heroes. They had to write a report and create a piece of commemorative art. And there was a lot of choice involved. The students really loved it. But then when it came time to presenting to the class and, making eye contact and fate worse than death, but they all got through it. They all received applicable feedback, no emergency trips to the nurse. All in all, by integrating our integrated approach, the children really work towards becoming well-rounded communicators who are not only proficient in language arts class, but they're adept at critical thinking and expression in all their classes and in life in general. So it's really wonderful to witness and be a part of the tremendous growth you will see in your students this year. So thank you and enjoy your summer. I look forward to meeting and working with your students in September.
Ms. Ransignola, Special Education.
Hi, I'm Mary Ransignola. I've been in PRM for 11 years, so I'm going on year 12. I have gotten the opportunity to actually work with every single one of these beautiful, lovely human beings up here, and your children are in great hands. So I'm just here to speak on behalf of the Special Education Department. I teach 6th, 7th, and 8th grade special ed, but I wanted to talk about the services that we offer here for special ed students. So we have PT, OT, speech, and have a child study team. The special education academic program consists of leveled resource rooms and co-taught classes. In the resource room setting, we parallel the curriculum with the general education curriculum and adjust the pacing as needed. Our main goal is to meet the individual needs of every student in the program. The largest program that we have is the co-teaching program, which is also referred to as in-class resource. This is when we pair a general education teacher, like one of these teachers up here, and myself in a classroom to deliver instruction. In addition to co-teaching, we work to assist all the students differentiate and modify instruction as needed. There are co-taught classes in English language arts, math, social studies, and science. And then we also have a support class that's offered either every day, daily, or every other day. And that helps with organization and study skills. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to meeting your students in September.
Mr. Hubbard, science.
Hi, everybody. I really enjoy the 6th graders. They come in. They're little, but they're not too little. They can still they're cute, but they can wipe their own noses. So that's a plus. And it's cute when you see them come in September because they're all nervous and excited. And that's another reason why I like the 6th graders, because they're genuinely happy to be here and they're interested in learning. So the curriculum is called a curriculum called iQuest, which stands for Investigate and Question Our World Through Science and Technology. And this was actually developed by the people that wrote the standards, so it falls right in line with everything we should be learning in science in middle school. It's a spiraled curriculum, which means they're going to be learning life science, chemistry, physics, and earth science every year, a little bit in doses. And so a few things that are very different from when we were in school. There's no textbook. It's a workbook, and the workbook guides investigations, and there's some readings. And I supplement with Google Slides some main concepts that they need to know and understand. And it's also different from how we learned. So when we were kids, I like to look at it as like top down. They taught us the complex concepts, and then we broke them down and then maybe tested them, right? So for example, so like the 3 modes of heat transfer: conduction, convection, and radiation. We'd get the definitions, make some notes, draw some pictures, and then we'd maybe like do an activity or a lab. I don't remember too much of that in my middle school, but I definitely remember that in high school. But the way iQuest works, it kind of builds the concepts up from the bottom. So it starts off with a phenomenon, and an investigation. And there's lots of class discussions, and it tries to build up the concepts. So, for example, the phenomenon would spark curiosity. So it could be anything from a picture to a plasma globe, anything that would spark some interest and get some discussions going. So the investigations go along with the class discussions, help students piece it all together. So here's an example, driving question, how do I smell things from a distance? All right, so this next unit I'm starting is the chemistry unit, and so we open it up by opening up a jar of something that's has an odor, like vanilla or mint. So, and it takes some time to travel across the classroom, and from there they understand that there's stuff in the air, and then we build on the concepts like there's matter, and it just kind of grows from there. So it's not your traditional, here's what the information is. It's investigating and building the concepts up. And yeah, I think that's it. Looking forward to seeing your kids next year, and you know, nice meeting you, and see you in September.
Okay. Let me see if I'll stop the screen sharing and we'll see if that helps with it. Okay. Yeah, if anyone has any feedback, we just heard that there are people at home that can't see, so you get a signal if they can. Okay. Anyone getting any feedback on whether they can see now? I stopped the screen share, so hopefully what's on the screen here is visible at home. Okay, great. So we will leave it that way. People at home, while you're not seeing the presentation that we are looking at, we will email that out to you, and actually I will send that out in a school messenger email while we are presenting. Turn it over to Mrs. McCall.
Hello. Hi, my name is Alexandra McCall. I'm one of the 6th grade math teachers. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about 6th grade math. There's 2 levels. There's Math 6 regular class. There's Math 6 enriched class. And the enriched class just kind of goes faster through the topics. We go more in depth. We do harder problems. And then we sort of finish a little earlier at the end of the year. And we start to hit some of those 7th grade topics to get them ready for pre-algebra. We work really hard with the 6th graders to teach them some just good skills of how to be good students. So we work with them at how to study, how to take notes, how to persevere through problems. That's a hard one. Some good study habits, I think I mentioned that. Working together with other people, all of these skills that are good, just things to know for school, not necessarily just math. We all know that math can be hard sometimes. We really work with them at persevering and trying their best and not leaving anything blank. And it's okay if we all make mistakes. It's okay. It's okay to make them. That's honestly how we learn the most. So we try to work with them on that. We know it's not easy. And I really encourage you, when your kids are in 6th grade, to talk to them about what they're learning. I love teaching 6th grade math. We teach them some really useful skills. We teach them percents and how to calculate discounts. We do things like unit rate and unit price. I mean, no matter what job they have in their life, they will use these skills. So I encourage you to talk to them about it. We do obviously other things. We do fractions, decimals, statistics, geometry. We also do some algebra, which is fun. And like I said, I encourage you to talk to them about it. I know it's not always how you may have learned it, but it's fun for them to teach you and for you to learn a little bit about it yourself. We also have an online component, so we're really starting to incorporate that for homework, for assessments. They're going to start to see that the state test is online, SATs are now online, I think. So getting them used to doing math on the computer, it's not an easy thing, but we try to work with them on that too. So I think that's about it. I'm looking forward to meeting your kids in September. And yeah.
Next, Matt McKay for world language. And a little bit later on, a couple slides in, we'll talk more about how world language works will be working next year.
Bonsoir tout le monde. So I'm Ms. McKay, Margaret McKay. I'm doing French grade 6, 7, and 8. I've been with Kinnelon now 11 years. Your children are in very good hands here. We really want to motivate them. We like them to go away with memories that are meaningful, it's purposeful, and fun. For foreign language, we like to look at the 3 modes of communication. They're looking at interpretive, where they can see something in French or Spanish and try to make sense of it. They are afterwards looking at it in a way where they can use language interpersonally. And then the third way of communication, they'd like to be able to present some of the language. Some of our projects have dealt with weather, where they have to be the weatherman of the day, of the week. Some of them have also done skits for the cafe scene. It was a big hit for French in 6th grade. We also have skits with family, and we spiral 7th grade, 8th grade materials so that we like to bring it back and like to have it reinforced. I think our idea for middle school language is so that they can have fun and use it as a trampoline kind of effect to move them on to high school. We want them to continue, of course, with the language, hopefully the same one, and build upon that until they can get to their highest levels. I believe that we're trying to use the most authentic sources. So we like to use poems or songs or current events, maybe child poem for children or songs for children, or anything that's authentic material we like to use to show them what it's like abroad from other countries, compare our cultures. So we're very excited to see the kids in the fall. Don't be nervous about the homework. There'll be a little bit, but you don't have to panic now thinking, oh my God, I don't remember my Spanish, I don't remember my French. That'll be our job. We also have opportunities for extra help, and we're very encouraging to the kids. So we really want them to feel comfortable and ready to try their best. Thank you.
And now Mrs. Hendricks for music.
Good evening. My name is Bonnie Hendricks, and I am the 6th grade band director here at PRM. 6th grade band is a continuation of the instrumental music program that some students started at Stony Brook with Mr. Tedesco, but it's also a time of a student's life that any student, whether they took band before or not, can start an instrument for the first time. In band, students will learn how to rehearse in an ensemble, music reading and new note skills, and musical techniques that are specific to their instrument. We also focus on developing our critical listening and creativity skills, our composing skills, and our basic overall understanding of how music is created and practiced. I hope that your child chooses the opportunity to learn a new instrument and be part of this class. We focus on teamwork and performance goals each and every day. In 6th grade, the students will receive 1 lesson per week on their instrument, so that they can add to their skill level and then feel comfortable playing in the group that we have and that meets every other day. The students will continue to use their Essential Elements book, so the book that they purchased in 5th grade, they can continue with that, and they don't need to purchase a new book. The current 5th grade students will also have the opportunity to watch the PRM current 6th grade when they come up for Move Up Day, June 10th and 11th. So the students will get a chance to see the band room, sit and watch just the students that are 1 year older than them perform for them. And I kind of hold a Q&A myself where I show them the instruments and I have them ask questions. And it's a good time for them to kind of get used to it and comfortable with it. So that's going to happen on June 10th and 11th. If you have any questions regarding instrument rentals or our program or any of your child's choices, I'll be happy to discuss it with you. You can email me anytime for more information, and I look forward to having your students in class in September. Thank you.
Now Mrs. McLean, one of our counselors.
Hi, everyone. I'm also a track coach, so I came fresh from me. We won. We hopefully they did very well. Although it's not about winning, they are having a lot of fun. A lot of PRs, they too. So that was a little shout out. My assistant coach said, try to recruit some kids for the track stuff. So I'm Tara McLean. I'm one of the counselors here. next year, I'll give you a little background. So I've been in Kinnelon for a very long time. This is my 26th year in Kinnelon. I was in Stony Brook School, and I I like the gaping wide mouth. And I have been here for 16 years. I was a teacher prior to being as a counselor, but I love it. This is my jam. So we are divided up in the alphabet. Mrs. Comprelli, Valerie Comprelli, will be the other counselor here next year. And I am the end of the alphabet, L through Z, last names. But I always say to the kids, we share, we play nice, they come to anyone, but we would be your point of reference, and it'll be an on-course of who you call. And I always say, if you don't know who to call or what's going on or what to do, call us and we'll get you there. I know, again, as many of us have said, we've had kids go through middle school, and it's like, so I like to think I'm a liaison, and I can ease your communication because it's sort of hard to figure out who do you have for what. There's 2 teachers on a lot of the list, so use us. I hope to help make your life easier. So much like in Stony Brook, counselors assist in a variety of ways. We help with social, emotional, and academic concerns. We do organization, time management. We work with, we'll introduce ourselves through social studies classes in the beginning of the year so they know who we are, put a face to a name. We'll do a needs assessment for them. Would you like to meet with your counselor? Do you think you may want some organizational help? We also do minute meetings, so we'll meet with every single one of our kids. It's like speed dating. It's sort of fun though. Probably better than speed dating. I haven't done it, but and we just go through the students, and then it's just time to connect with them, and then they can see where our office is, get a little feel of our personalities, and then we can see, okay, where might these students need us in the future. We work very closely with the 6th grade team of teachers. We're at team meetings, and we really are a team. We are here to give your kids so much support, and we love doing it. It's our passion. We love it. We also we do games at lunch. We don't do games. We do play games at lunch, but we run lunch groups. So we'll do groups for all different things. We did visual journaling, vision boards. We did fun and games where they literally play old-fashioned board games just to sort of connect with each other. We do executive function groups. We ask the teachers, what are you seeing? What are the needs? Or what are we hearing at team meetings? And then we do groups to sort of meet the needs of kids. And every year it's a little different. We'll talk about self-advocacy in classroom lessons. We'll talk about respect. Sometimes it's just basic kindness we've worked on this year a little bit too. So really, whatever the needs are, the counselors are really here to meet their needs, to help you with how to navigate 6th grade, because there is a lot of different expectations and the organization of all the locker and all the different classes. So you can think of your counselor as your sort of back pocket helper and assistant as you navigate through middle school with your child as well. I am also in charge of the peer mentors, and our peer mentors will be running the tours, and they'll do question and answer with the incoming 6th graders. When Mrs. Hendricks was talking about the June 10th and 11th, the 5th graders will come up to PRM from Stony Brook. We'll do tours. They get to look in some classes. They get to meet with the 7th and 8th grade peer mentors, which will be a new batch forming next week. And it's really fun for them, and they can relate to the kids. So it's not just listening to another adult in their life. They listen to the band, get all questions answered. A lot of them do decide to take up a new instrument, which is a great opportunity, and they get a feel for the school. Then again, at the end of the summer in August, there'll be a tour opportunity. And even though if you're not able to attend, that's fine. But it's really fun. A lot of times by then they have their schedule, and then the peer mentors once again come. They bring them around the school. They can show them the actual classes they'll be going to. They look at the lockers. And again, it's just another way to ease that anxiety, and it's fun for them too. So lots of great things to look forward to. If you're nervous, you can talk to the counselor as well. And but we look forward to, not too soon. I want summer to go very slow, but then we'll look forward to starting in September. So nice to meet you all.
Yes, my name is Ben Cantella. I've been teaching here 23 years, almost teaching about 30 years total. I do health and phys ed. I'm one of the 4 health and phys ed teachers. Myself, Ms. Chegwin, and Mr. Stokes, and Ms. Slater. So let's first talk about the phys ed part. Yes, they do have to get dressed. They have to have sneakers. And yes, their bodies are changing, so make sure they have deodorant. Okay, we don't want them wiping out half the class, right? They're changing, you know. And When they do get dressed, they'll have lockers. So we ask them to purchase from Pearl's Place the lockers. So that makes things easier. We don't want their stuff to go missing. So they do get dressed for phys ed. They will have different type team activities, team sports, cooperative games, mass games, trust games. We do a lot of different things all throughout the year, and they'll have 3 marking periods of phys ed and 1 of health. When they're in health, in 6th grade, they'll learn about nutrition, taking care of themselves. They will deal about tobacco, okay, is the main one out of the 3. And, you know, what happens is they start to learn about certain things in dealing with just about themselves, okay, character, okay, self-esteem, supporting one another. So these are different things that we talk about in class with health. One of the things that I also do is I coach 3 sports here at the middle school, so I'm pretty busy. I didn't win today, okay, but what I'll tell you about the sports here, we have many sports that a lot of middle schools do not have anymore. You know, a lot of middle schools don't have sports, and I think it's a great advantage that we have. In the fall, we have boys and girls soccer, as well as cross country, which I coached cross country. In the winter, we have girls and boys basketball, and then wrestling, which I coached the wrestling. And we have in the spring track and field, girls softball, and baseball, which is what I do. One of the things I'll add to it, I'm sure if Miss Hanson didn't already say it, but the biggest thing that we'll tell you about the sports is get your physicals done. Okay, get them done ahead of time. Get them done before you come in September, because that makes the process that much easier, especially for the fall sports, because we start up right away. And, you know, if you don't have that physical done, then your son or daughter's got to sit there and wait until they get that cleared. And sometimes that's a process. You know, people don't realize. They think it's just, oh, here's the paper, it's done. And I'm sure she'll tell you it's a process, because certain people have to sign off on that. So get that done as soon as possible, because that makes life very easy for coaches, for the kids, for the nurse, for everybody. Okay? And then obviously throughout the course of the year, we build up to our big field day, which ours is coming up this Friday. Yeah. So that's always a huge event. I know 6th graders, they come in here and they're like wide-eyed. Oh my God, I got lockers, I got to change. Whoa, what's going on? We'll be okay. We're not. Oh, and also we're not the mean myelitis people. Okay. You always hear about the mile, right? But we try to teach them, because we want them to understand we're trying to create a healthy lifestyle. That's the biggest thing. I'm not sitting up at night going, ooh, how can I torture this group? Okay? We're trying to create a healthy lifestyle so that they understand what it means and how important it is. And believe me, when they're in middle school, they'll, oh my God, I got to do that, I got this. And then all of a sudden, that little light bulb goes off, and hey, there's so-and-so running on the street there. There's someone down at the track. They get it. And we do a lot of things that people pay for right now. You know, we have some extra, whether it's dealing with yoga, whether it's dealing with some of the exercises that we do, and people are paying people to do that. We're doing it here, teaching them so they know how to do it. So that's the big thing. And we're always there if you need us. You get in touch with us through email or call. But like I said, we like to have a lot of fun, and it's a great experience. And, you know, we're looking forward to having all of your children here. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So in addition to the teachers who obviously your children will see in classrooms day to day, there is a tremendous support network outside of that too. And Mrs. McLean spoke to that as far as the work that our counselors do. And then also we have our child study team, Mrs. Malone, who's our learning disabilities teacher consultant, Mrs. Foster, who is our school psychologist. Mrs. Battaglia is our media specialist, and she is incredibly active coming into classrooms, working with teachers, really helping your children build up technology-related skills that they will use here throughout 6th, 7th, and 8th grade on into high school and just out in the wider world as well. We also have our school nurse, Mrs. Hanson, and she really does so much just to promote the general wellness of our students as well. She's an incredibly important point of contact. If your child has an allergy or a chronic condition, or even just if you have general questions about wellness, she is a great person to talk to. Mr. Quintella touched on, the importance of sports physicals and the things that go along with, the physical activities that happen here. And Mrs. Hanson is a point person for all of that as well. So she's going to spend a little time talking with you about that. Mrs. Hanson.
Thank you. Okay, good evening. Thank you all for coming. If my name sounds familiar, I did have your children in Stony Brook in 4th grade. So this is my first year here, but I've been a nurse for 12 years. This is my contact information. My webpage has a lot of information. Anytime, if you try to call me during the day and if I don't pick up, you can definitely send me an email. So just want to talk about medications and absences. So I know that in Stony Brook, they have pickup patrol. We don't have that here. So anytime that your child is absent, you have to either call or you can send it to the email address below. Another important thing are medications. So anytime that your child needs a medication, we do have standing orders for Tylenol, Advil, Tums, or some throat drops. But if your child needs any daily med that they would be taking during the day at home, at school, we need medication orders for that. And all the forms are on the webpage, the link that is there. So sports physical forms, this is really important. This is a game changer, I always say. Historically, you all probably had to fill out that 1-page form. This is different. This is a 4-page form. I included the link right there. And the first page is a history form, so that has to be filled out by the parent. And you have to fill out all the headings properly. You have to sign the bottom. And anytime there's 60 questions on there, so if you answer yes to any of them, you have to be more specific in the comment box. Then there's page 2 for if your child has special needs. And then page 3 and 4 that's where the healthcare provider, the pediatrician, will fill it out. And it's very important that the date of exam is stated on there and that the pediatrician stamps the bottom and signs it. So the whole process is that I always say I would start now. If you know your child is going to participate in the sport this summer, I would call your pediatrician today and make an appointment because they do get pretty busy. And then another thing is that sometimes this can take over a week. So all the forms have to be submitted to me. I don't prefer an email because each page is 4 pages and there's over 300 students in the school. So that's over 1,200 pages. I prefer a hand copy. So that could be dropped off to the school or your child could just drop it off to me. But the summer, I do come in every week just to check my forms and I get everything ready. So what I do is I review everything to make sure it's done completely. And then I have to send it over to our school physician. I do not approve sports physicals. So that process can take about like 5 to 7 days. So if the first day of practice is September 7th, I say try to get it in at least 2 weeks before. And if anyone has any questions about it, you're more certainly able to ask. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Hanson. All right, so as you've heard from the people that are going to be with your children, there are a lot of different facets to middle school, and a lot of this is going to be brand new to them. One of the things that is so important to us is making it comfortable for your children and for you as well to ask questions. If they don't know something, that's okay. It's expected. If they already knew all this stuff, I mean, we might as well advance them right to high school. So it's completely expected. It's encouraged. We want to hear questions, and we know that's going to happen through those first couple weeks of school. I will tell you this as well. Obviously, changing classes repeatedly is going to be new for them. By about a week in, even within a few days in, it's going to be second nature to them already. It is something that happens really very quickly. So what can you expect? I mean, middle school is a transition. I think the best way to think about it is the students we are bringing in are essentially fifth graders. The students that leave us after they graduate from eighth grade are high school students. Everything between a fifth grader and a high school student is what we do here. So obviously, you should expect that there's going to be a lot of transition, okay? That there are physical, social, emotional, cognitive changes. There's a lot. You'll often hear middle school described as a tumultuous time. It's not the first word I would grab for. Yes, there will be ups and downs in it. Tumultuous sounds a little bit scary, and it's not all as dramatic as that. But you are going to see your child go through changes. Uh, you're going to see increasing independence, and that's what we want as well. Because again, if you think about it, what you expect from that graduating eighth grader becoming a high school freshman is, of course, someone that's going to be a lot more self-reliant than that elementary student that came in. So we want that independence to grow. What can you expect from us? A rigorous academic program, a lot of varied experiences. You already heard about sports. We have a number of clubs and activities that you'll be hearing more about as we go through the year. And then in the classrooms, from classroom to classroom, subject to subject, really varied experiences that get the students engaged very deeply with the concepts that they're learning. We go to a much deeper level than they're used to because we're really promoting that higher level of learning. Okay? A tremendous amount of support from our teachers, from our counselors, from our administrators. You know, everybody in this building is here to help your children. And then communication, and that is so important. Okay? Again, if you have a question, we don't want you just sitting on it. We would love to know about that. Whether you shoot an email, a call, stop by, whatever it happens to be, we want to be able to have that discussion with you and give you all the information that you need. We really do want that partnership so that your child has, you know, a tremendous team at home, a tremendous team at school, and that team really becomes one together. When we talk about a rigorous academic program, I mean, again, we are talking about, you know, higher level thinking, promoting, really getting them to engage. It's not just about, you know, teacher at the front of the room, kids in desks, and a bunch of memorization. It's about thinking through concepts, not only to learn what's in front of them at the moment, but to prepare them when they step outside of school and confront a new situation to say, you know what, I know how to navigate my way through this. That's really important for us. We talked about those varied experiences. Middle school is a time where hopefully your child is going to discover some new interests. You know, maybe they didn't know that they were into robotics, but you know, they go to the robotics club and they find out that they love it. Maybe they didn't realize what a talent they had for writing. Maybe they didn't recognize, you know, that when they get into a peer mentor group, how much they enjoy working with others to help other students through things. So we want them to have all those different types of experiences. Um, as far as support, like we said, we have that team teaching model. So our teams of teachers meet each week to discuss what's going on at the grade level, plan grade level events. If there's a student that may be struggling, that's a good time to get together and say, oh, you know what, what's working in this class? Maybe that's something I can apply to this class over here that will work. Reaching out to parents as well, having parent meetings, things like that, a tremendous amount of support. Special programs run by our school counselors. You know, organization does not necessarily come naturally to everybody. A lot of students need help with that. A lot of us adults need help with that sometimes. We do help them through that because it is a different thing, balancing, you know, the different periods of the day, seeing different teachers, different teaching styles and things like that, being able to navigate all of that together. And we certainly help them with that as well. Okay? And then we do have our intervention and referral services process. This may be something that you're aware of, as they do have that in Kiel and Stony Brook as well. If a student is facing some learning challenges, if they're starting to struggle, then that's a time for our professionals here on this side to put their heads together with you as the parents as well and find out what more can we be doing to help the student overcome these obstacles. And then for students that require that additional level of help, we have our child study team as well for students that have, you know, deeper learning challenges to help them through that. Okay? Communication, the typical things that you would expect. Of course, call, email, anytime. You're welcome to stop by too. We currently use OnCourse. We are making the transition to real time, but that's still that online portal that's going to be able to give you a look at how your child is doing over the course of the marking period. And as we make that transition to real time, obviously we've all been familiarized with OnCourse, so we'll be doing a lot of education type sessions and giving a lot of resources to help you navigate that as well. School Messenger, so that those emails are very, very important. We use that all the time. Obviously, you saw the amount of information we've sent out with that, even just preparing for this meeting. Our newsletter goes out each week via School Messenger, gets posted online as well. Our website, you saw our district has transitioned to a new website. It's going to house a tremendous amount of information. And I think the new website, just, we're in our beginning of working with it, but much better organized than what it was before. So I think you'll be able to find things a lot easier. And then home and school association meetings are a great way to get involved. If you have the chance to come in and participate in a meeting, that's great. Typically, our superintendent speaks at those meetings. I do, our assistant principal, our counselors, just to talk about what's going on in school and what's going on in our district. They also are a tremendous support for your children. They bring programs like Teen Canteen, which you may have heard of already, something that the students really enjoy doing. There are all sorts of activities that are here because the HSA makes it happen, and it takes a lot of volunteer effort to make that take place. So we are very grateful for them, and we hope you can be a part of that too. Okay. So we are actually going to a bit of a different master schedule next year. I'm not going to do a deep dive on this now. I know we're throwing a lot at you, but next Wednesday evening, we're going to do a session very much like this, where we do go into the nuts and bolts of what the schedule is going to look like. But just to give you a general overview, what your child can expect, we run an A-day, B-day schedule. And what that means is your child is going, generally your child's going to have the same classes at the same times each day. There is that first period where they're going to have a world language on one side, and then they're going to have a cycle period on the other. So that's their art class, that's their technology class, things like that. Their financial literacy class. So that alternates on an A-day, B-day. They will have math every day. As you can see from that period, just about 50 minutes in there. They'll have their English language arts class every day. They will have lunch every day. On the other side of the lunch period, that lunch period is a little bit shorter than it's a 38-minute period. The other side of the lunch period is also a little bit shorter, 38 minutes as well. Pretty close to what our periods are these days, actually. So they will have their music option in there, and then something called the custom option learning time. That'll be a place where they get exposure to a few different things. And again, we'll go more deeply into that in our presentation next week. They have phys ed every day, as Mr. Quintella referenced. 3 marking periods of the year. That will be phys ed, where they get changed, put their stuff in their lockers, and do things that are related to physical activities. They will have 1 marking period of health, going over those concepts that Mr. Quintella talked about, like nutrition and things like that. They'll have science every day in the longer period, and social studies every day as well. So most of their day will be the same. And again, I get that, just at first glance, this might look at something that could potentially be a little confusing to them. You'll see that they'll pick it up very quickly. It becomes routine for them. Now, as far as school climate, just what are the things that happen outside of just classes, academics, and things like that? Full value is something that I'm sure you've heard of through Kiel, through Stony Brook. You see those ideas over here, like be here, be safe, be honest, let go and move on, care for self and others. Those concepts are woven through what we do here. So full value is our character education program. We actually, one of those cycle classes that your child takes, they do some team building, full value related type things in there as well. Pillars of character. We do a lot of, catching students being good, so to speak. If you have seen our newsletter, you've probably seen that periodically there's a list of students in there, who have stood out in the areas, just stand out for their character. Teams will nominate students for that. We share that with daily announcements within the school. We also share that in the newsletter as well, and at our board meeting. Okay? Student council will go into in a bit more depth in just a moment. Team meetings, like I said, our teachers get together with our counselors as well, just to discuss, and child study team members, just to provide that area of support for students. Lunchtime. This is a question. The first question we usually get about lunch is, well, how do they figure out where they sit? We've tried it a lot of different ways over the years, and we found that the best thing to do is over the first couple of days in the lunch period, we let the students come in, they choose where they want to sit. We figured out sometimes there are kids where just a group of them will click together right away. Sometimes it'll take some support from the counselors, but we make sure everybody has a place to sit. Once that is in place, then we make a seating chart based on where the students decided that they want to sit. We want lunch to be a social time for them. We want that to be a time where they can relate with their friends. So that's why we go that way with it. And then, with whom should my child speak if he or she has a concern? Well, if it's an academic thing, obviously if it's something going on in class, they should first go to their teacher. If it's something outside of that, if it's a friendship issue or just like a general concern, something they're worried about, counselors are a good point of contact. If they have something on their mind and they just don't know, they will see a lot of me and our assistant principal during the school day. The office is, kind of a hub of the school where they can come in there. We will get them to wherever the answer to their question is. So again, they are not on their own in this. They have a complete team of people around them. Okay. Student council. Our student council is a really thriving co-curricular in our school. We do what's called the Colt Cup competition. So throughout the year, we do different spirit type events, like for example, having the students wear their grade level colors. Their grade level colors are, one grade's green, one is white, one is black. We have the students wear those colors and they just get a point. We count them up in homeroom, see who has the most points. We award points for that. We do different types of charitable endeavors over the course of the school year. Our student council is very active. Even so much as, as you walk through the halls here and you see those water bottle filling stations like right over there instead of just the typical water fountain, we have those because that was an idea brought up by the student council, and then they did some fundraising along with it, and now we have those things. So we really want students to have a voice. Like we talked about earlier, we want them to grow and become more independent, and one of the important things that helps a student to become more independent is recognizing that what's on their mind matters. It matters to the adults around them. And of course, not every idea is going to necessarily be practical. We get the whole range of different types of things, but that student will always have an ear to someone to listen to them and what they are talking about. And then our home and school association, like I said, they are such an important part of what we do. And they do an incredible amount for all of our students here. I greatly encourage you to be a part of that. Some of the things that you will see early on from our home and school association, they have moved a lot of their stuff online, which makes it a lot more convenient. Home and school association membership is necessary for taking part in things like Teen Canteen, which is a night we do it by grade level. So the sixth graders will come together. There's a DJ in here. There's food. There are games in classrooms. There's a giant inflatable in the gym, plus basketball, different types of activities for them to do. Something that they really look forward to. That all happens because of the Home and School Association. So joining is a really important thing for that. Even something like TREPS, the Young Entrepreneur Program, which has really been an absolutely thriving program. That is something that we can only do because of the support of the HSA. So we're grateful for them to them for that as well. School supplies. This is one that comes up very frequently as well. We will post lists, as Mrs. Ecker said, or Mrs. Barnes-Rizzo said. We will put those things online, so if you prefer to just go out, take the run to Staples and pick up those supplies, you certainly can do that. But the HSA makes that very convenient option of just being able to buy school toolkit, everything that your child needs. It's just one-stop shopping, and it'll be delivered. So it's much easier that way as well. And then locks and locker ladders. So just a word about locks. For the students, each student will get 2 locks, one for their hallway locker, one for their gym locker. It's going to be very important that they use those locks. And I know some of them get a little nervous about, will I be able to open it up? We can help them through that, absolutely. But they will need to have that lock on it, and they will need to purchase it through the HSA because those come with a key entry through the back, so that if there's something wrong with the dial or something like that, we can always get them into their locker, get them to their stuff. So you'll hear more about that as we do our student tours at the end of the summer, how to purchase all of those things. And then locker ladders, if they so choose, those are a popular item with a lot of students. It's just an organizer, a way for them to make a little more out of that space that is their locker. Okay? So all of that is going to be coming out at the end of June. And like I said, as we get into August, toward the end of August, we'll be doing tours here that the students will get to walk through their schedules, and they'll be able to see those things as well. Okay? So with that said, we have certainly shared a lot of information with you. Just to give you some quick things that we typically hear, and then we'll open it up to questions from the group. First is, if I'm concerned about something, who do I call? Well, again, just like with the students, it really depends where the issue is. If it's something about something in the classroom, absolutely reach out to the teacher. If it's something like, if it's a concern about maybe a changing friendship group or something like that, that's a good time to call the counselor. If it's something programmatic about, whether it's curricular or, something that we do on the school level, certainly reach out to me. And if you're just not sure, call the main office and we will get you where you need to go. We'll connect you with the person that you need. How much homework will my child have is always a question as well. And it does vary from day to day and time to time. So there are actually 2 questions that come up very frequently in the homework realm. How much will there be? And then also, what's the right age to stop helping my child with homework? Okay? And with both of those things, there's no easy answer. What I would say is this: if you see your child and here she's working on the same math assignment, and they're starting to get frustrated, and there's starting to be tears and things like that, step away, put it away, shoot an email to the teacher, let them know, hey, this was, what, you gave it a shot, it really wasn't working well. It's good for the teacher to know that. It's good for the teacher to say, okay, so I know with this particular student that, I need to give a little more help there. That's a good thing. And then as far as helping your child with homework, yes, of course we want children to be independent. I mean, some of your children right now are probably the kind that they come home, they sit down, they get all their homework done, and you don't have to say a word about it. Some may take some, let me see your planner, let me see what's in there. What do we really have to do today? Or maybe you're logging into Google Classroom to see what's going on. There's no easy answer, but because it is so individualized, that is something certainly we can help you with. If you see your child struggling with homework, reach out to us. Give us a call at the office, talk to your child's counselor, because we can help you through that. While there's not one quick and easy answer I can give you here, there is absolutely an answer for your child, and we can work on finding that together. Will my child have enough time to get from class to class? Yes, absolutely. There's enough passing time to get from math at the end of the 6th grade wing to science upstairs if they need to. One of the things that your child will find out, will help them find this out, is they don't need to go to their locker between every period. So maybe as they come in the morning, they take their books for the first couple of periods. They'll find a routine, or we'll help them find that routine. They don't need to be laden with all of their books all at once. Some kids, just for the comfort of it, want to put every book and every folder and every binder in the backpack, but we really, or rather carry it with them. They don't carry the backpacks during the school day. We really discourage that. We'll help them find their way to navigate that. Using their locker, again, if they're having trouble with the combination, we can certainly help them with that. We know they're going to take a little more time at the beginning of the year to work through all that, and that's totally fine, totally expected. That's okay. What do I need to do if I want my child to stay after school? And just as I'm saying that, I realize that sounds like a disciplinary thing. That's not a disciplinary thing. I can't imagine you tell us, "Could you please give my child detention?" It's not a question we often get. What that means is each teacher in our school gives extra help 1 day a week. So on a Tuesday, a Wednesday, or a Thursday, we have late buses that drive children home after those sessions. So if your child, you feel like they could use just a little extra reinforcement, totally okay. They can stay after school. They can go meet with their teacher. They can ride the late bus home, or you can pick them up at 3:50 at the end of that period. Obviously, it's very important that there's good communication about that. So, obviously talk with your child, let know where they are going, and then obviously they can get on the late bus. We don't have like a pre-check for the late bus. When students come at the end of the day for the late bus, we do a sign-in sheet so we know who is getting on each bus. Just one thing to be aware of too, though, those late bus stops are different than your child's current or typical daily bus stop. It's more than likely a fairly good walk from home because we have about 15 to 20 buses that do our runs in the beginning and the end of the day. We have two late buses, one that does kind of like the Basin Lake side of town, one that does kind of the Smoke Rise side of town. So a lot of times what happens is parents will meet their child at the late bus stop. Some of them, are comfortable with their children walking, and that's fine. That's all to your comfort level. It's something good to be able to avail yourself of, and again, it does get to that topic of independence as well. And then how do I stay connected with what's going on in school? Like I said, every week you'll see a newsletter that'll have the same announcements that we're reading to the kids during the day. So you'll have a really good read on what's going on. If the sign up for something your child is interested in is coming up, special school event, things like that. You will see all of those things. Checking the website is a good thing to do. HSA meetings are a great way to go as well. And then also talking with your child. I know the stereotypical thing is, oh, kids get older and they don't really want to talk with their parents. Well, I would not buy into that blanket statement. Just as a parent who has had 4 kids go all the way through middle school, like that, they're willing to have that conversation if you're willing to have it with them. Um, the so how was school today doesn't really usually yield a conversation, but a more pointed question about, hey, I know you were a little nervous about that math test. How'd that go today? Or like, hey, what was the coolest thing that happened in school today? Like something a little more pointed, and that opens up that conversation. And when that becomes part of the routine, when they're used to that, when they expect that, you'd be surprised how much that conversation stays open. So certainly, it's a wonderful thing to do because it really the best way to really understand where your child is at with everything that's going on is to get it from their perspective as well. Understanding that, obviously, that may, if they're worried or upset about something, it may seem like a bigger deal and always a good time to, check in with us on our side and we can kind of help them navigate situations like that. But, there's always a lot to discuss. I can promise you this, there will always be something going on. So, talking with your children about it is a wonderful thing to do. So with that said, like I said, we threw a lot of information at you. What questions can we answer for you? And for the people at home, I'm going to have my email up. So if you want to shoot questions for me, I'll take a look at that. My email is mongonm@kinnelon.org. So mongonm@kinnelon.org. With that said, we will take questions. Yes. Yes. So what's going to happen is students used to pick at the end of 5th grade what language they were going to take for all 3 years at PRM. What we are going to do is they're going to take half a year of Spanish and half a year of French, and then they'll be able to pick based on having experience with both languages which one they want to take, and then they'll take that in 7th grade and take that in 8th grade. Yes. Yes, it will remain an every other day thing, so it will be pretty much like it. Oh, yes. We actually have set up the schedule that students can take band and choir. So that would mean they wouldn't take. So the way it works right now is it's set up in the cycle period. So kids that do band and choir don't take a cycle. So they just wouldn't take one of those coal options. Correct. Correct. Yes, they want to do band and choir. Yes. Yes. So, Mrs. Hendricks, do you want to talk to that? Actually, Mrs. Hendricks, if you want to, just for the people at home. So, the question was, are the students able to switch instruments going into sixth grade?
We do have several instruments that are new that they are able to take. If they have prior experience on an instrument, I like them to come in, explain their experience, and then I give them a chance in all of September to try all the different instruments. So it's better that instead of just going out and getting a new instrument thinking they might like it, until they actually try it, they might not be successful at it. So in September, if they come in with their normal instrument or an instrument that they already played, we have that discussion one-on-one and we can pick a new instrument. The only instrument that they always seem to gravitate towards, but we always have that full is percussion. So that's the only instrument they're not allowed to like switch to. But there is another 15 choices that they have. So we try to encourage that. And it all depends on how many of each instrument we have. So it's a two-way street in September, and we can have that with each student.
Yes. Okay, so summer homework, summer reading, and IXL. There will be a summer reading assignment coming. That will be the major thing that will be going on. There have been students invited to a summer learning academy, which is for math and language arts reinforcement. So that's by invitation. But so while there will be work that they do over the summer, we keep it pretty light. Yes. Yes, so we do get planners because we want them in the habit, but things will all also be on Google Classroom. Everything is on, yeah, all our teachers are on Google Classroom. Yes. Yes. Yes, all of our teachers are on Google Classroom. Yes. Yes, so if they don't do an instrument, they can do choral music. There are also some other things that could potentially fit in that slot, like that's where our guided study program goes, which is like basic skills reinforcement and things like that. We are there's development of a couple other things that are going on in that cold period that can slide over to that, but that's something we'll talk about in more depth next week. Yes. It's there's a placement matrix that's used that takes different performance indicators. So it basically looks at their body of work for math. I believe teacher recommendation plays a small role in that, but we'll actually be sending out more information about placement because that's also something that we do up here, sixth into seventh, seventh into eighth, and something we already did eighth into ninth as we were getting the students ready to go up to high school for their schedules. So you'll see more about that as well. Yes. Oh, so it's actually one team per grade level. So we have a sixth grade team, seventh grade team, eighth grade team, and then our core team, which is like phys ed and special area teachers. Let's see at home as well. Okay, all right. Any other questions? And like I said, I'm sure. Oh yes, go ahead. So IXL, yes, we do use it. Yeah. So I know we're doing summer reading over the summer, but as far as IXL work, I have to see. Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Mm. Yeah, just something to keep their brains active a little bit. Just yes. No. No. Oh, that question was for people at home. Are we doing a school-wide book this summer? No, we're a choice assignment for summer reading. And Mr. Cantella would like everybody to know that if they start working on their mile time periodically, they can really come in and do it well. That's right. Yes. Okay. Yes.
Jazz band and honor band, AM band will all start up in probably December. Those are our two extracurricular activities. AM band is by audition, depending on how many students. We have sixth graders. In fact, right now there's more sixth graders, seventh graders, and eighth graders. Jazz band, they start, anyone can join jazz band at first. And then depending on the student enrollment on each instrument, Mr. Scanlon basically goes through a process and he kind of, if your student is, doing really well in it, they'll be a member of it. If they're struggling a little, he may say, try to come back again next year and see what happens. So there's no like definite audition practice. It's kind of like a process. They're both before school. They're both before school so that it doesn't conflict with sports and after school extra help and things like that. So that normally doesn't start until after the first holiday winter concert. So that's more of a springtime thing. And they meet once a week before school.
Sure.
Okay, so certain sports, there will be tryouts. Like, for example, I believe the soccer do make cuts. Um, Basketball will make cuts. Sometimes baseball does. This year I didn't have to. I had a certain group, so I kind of kept the group together. Um, Sports like wrestling won't be cuts. Track and field won't be cuts. Cross country, there's no cuts. So really, it's based on, obviously performance, obviously what they can do. But just for an example, with baseball, I've kept a bunch of sixth graders. So I don't want like the kids to be discouraged. Oh, I'm a sixth grader. I'm not going to be able to make it. That's not true. So when you come in here and you try out based on your performance, based on what you do, and sometimes it's a fit to the program, right? So that's pretty much how that goes. So that yes, there will be some tryouts and there will be some not. Yes. Mhm. Correct. Correct. Yeah, I mean, we encourage them as much, much experience as they can get. I know there's a lot, with the rec program and some things that the rec holds that we don't have, obviously like football and lacrosse and stuff like that. So we understand that. I think in middle school sports, I think it's a good foundation of having your children kind of figure out a schedule, how to schedule their day, right? So this is how it starts. I always tell people when they're involved with middle school sports, they have to kind of figure out school, the work, schoolwork, and playing sports, and seeing that you can do that. And then that's just we're the building blocks of the high school. We're just trying to promote the programs so that they get promoted up at the high school and that they go on and do bigger and better things. Right after school, usually, like they'll end about 4:30, 4:30. Sometimes if students have a problem, they can take the late bus a couple of days. And then, obviously you work with the coaches. So sometimes, sometimes there's things that happen, obviously. Doctors point things, you just, email the coaches and you work it out through there. Anybody else? So in the fall, we have all here at PRM, soccer and the cross country is here. Sometimes cross country, we go down to the high school a little bit or do something there. In the winter, all here. The basketball's in the gym and my wrestling's in the choir room. We have the mats that go in the choir room. And then the spring, my baseball's here on the back field. This girls softball do go to Kinnelon Recreation Park, so they get bused over there, and the track and field is at the high school. And, oh, and that's right, I forgot, the volleyball's in between the winter and spring sports, and that's all here in the gym. So.
I heard that the girls' basketball team doesn't actually play other schools, is that true?
No, basketball has a schedule. I think maybe you're mixing up with, like, what was it, a couple years ago, the volleyball yeah, sometimes the volleyball has a independent type schedule because of the timing of it here. Because if you look at the high school, you have the girls volleyball in the fall and the boys volleyball in the spring, and this is kind of like in the middle. So sometimes certain schools don't have that. So it's just kind of an independent schedule sometimes, the volleyball.
But girls' basketball.
They have a schedule. Actually play games. Yep. We play the games. Yeah. So you will have a schedule for all of it. So every sport that we have a schedule, and there'll be counties for a lot of them. Like, so for example, baseball, we finish our regular season this week, and then next week starts the counties based on our record and seating meetings and so forth. So. Correct. Yep. And another quick point would be what we have on the website, it's a travel release form. So let's just say there's a game and you have to get your son or daughter to something else. You have to do this travel release form about 24 hours prior to the event. Okay, it can't be like, hey, can I just take my kid? Because, that puts responsibility on us.
But that's if you want to pick them up.
Pick them up.
Rather than, you don't have to do that for them just getting on the bus and coming back to school.
I know, you just want to leave them on the bus. Don't worry about it. Just leave them on there. But yes, that's usually sometimes if there's certain things like that, you go on the website and it has there. And all of the information's on the website, like, whether dealing with the athletics, dealing with the physicals, you just jump on there and you go with it from there. All right, thank you.
All right, and I know we covered it, but it feels like a good time to just say it again. Mrs. Hanson will appreciate it too, I know. The more you can get those sports physicals done ahead of time, the better off you are. Because if you do it right at the beginning of September, it's almost guaranteed that your child's going to miss at least some practice time because it does have to be processed. It has to go to the school doctor and it has to come back. If, on the other hand, you go through that, you get everything done over the summer, those sports physicals are good for a year, so you don't have to worry about it for the fall, winter, or spring season. You're covered, throughout that time. So it's pretty good if you can get it done during that way.
The big thing is if you do it in the summer, I know with my own kids in the past, I used to do it so that it's done. You don't have to worry about it, like Mr. One said, it's a year. So if you do it in the summer, you know it's time, and it's a better time to get it done too. So.
Right. Yes, the paperwork for athletics is on the website. So when you go to our website, over on the right kind of middle of the page, you'll see athletics. Click that tab, scroll down, you'll see all the forms right there.
No, it's right when school starts, probably we give them a week, and then like that second week usually is when we start getting going.
Right, that question for the people at home was when do the tryouts happen? So they do happen in the fall after school begins, but it's pretty quickly after school begins. So again, it just behooves everyone to get the physicals done ahead of time. Okay. Any other questions? Sure. The cold period? Yeah. Yes, everyone will have that in their schedule. So the cold period, so they'll have lunch in one of those 38-minute periods, and then they'll have that cold on an alternating day in that. We'll talk more about that at the schedule presentation. Yes?
You said that we have to get purchase the lot. What is the earliest that they can purchase it? And you got it in the summer so that the kids can practice with it?
Yes, that will take place in August. You'll be able to get them. So a couple weeks ahead of time. And I have put on a lock opening clinic quite a bit. I'm pretty adept at it this time. Yeah. My own children, as they were coming through middle school, didn't seem to believe that I could, but students that come through and recognize that I've spent 25 years in middle school, they recognize I can help them with that. I'm happy to do it too. Yes. Off and away. So they can bring their cell phone, but it must be powered off, and it has to be away, meaning out of sight. So we don't force them to put it in their locker, but it does have to be off. If they do have it on in school, then it's sent down to the office and they pick it up at the end of the day. Good question. That's a very common question. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Well, again, as other questions occur to you, please don't hesitate to reach out, give us a call, shoot an email, and thank you so much for making the time tonight. The next thing for your children will be they will be coming here on June 10th or 11th, depending what class they're in 5th grade, to do a tour, listen to the band, meet the teachers. And then later in August, we'll do an orientation. This will be once they have their schedules in hand, so they'll be able to walk through it. So day 1 in September, they'll be coming to a place that's familiar to them and that they know how to navigate. And it's going to be an exciting time. So thank you all. And yes. Oh, yes. So that's just so as we're changing our master schedule, which is the times that that were on that slide. That's going to be Wednesday, and I will blast that out to everybody, the meeting link and everything like that. So we'll do that very much like this meeting. Although hopefully the screen won't go black for any period of time in the middle of it. Find out what that's about. Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.